Hello, I'm Dr. Joe Girard, the professor of saxophone at the Schwob School of Music at Columbus State University in Columbus, Georgia. I'm here today to perform the GMEA All-State Saxophone Etudes for 2018 and provide you with some practice tips. Enjoy. Hello, thank you for listening to the performance. Now I'm going to provide you with a few practice tips that will hopefully help you refine your approach to this etude. This is for the Symphonic band, grades 11 and 12, slow etude. The tempo is marked quarter note equals 68, but I recommend starting much slower and subdividing. I would approach this from the beginning with an eighth note pulse of 68. What that slow tempo allows you to do is focus on the phrasing, the intonation, the style, the articulation, all of the details that will contribute to a fine performance of this etude. I like to use the analogy with my students as if they're baking a cake. Okay? If you bake a cake, you're going to mix all the ingredients together and then place it in the oven. You're not going to bake the cake, forget the sugar, and then try to put that on afterwards. A lot of the time in the learning process, what I find young students do is that they try to learn all the notes and all the rhythms, and they forget about the phrasing, their articulation, and these details that really contribute to a fine performance. I'm now going to demonstrate the first phrase of this etude with an eighth note pulse of 68. I'm going to offer an alternate fingering in a specific context here that may make it easier to execute some of the transitions in this etude. Often when we go from C to D, we go from having one finger down to 6 fingers and our thumb. And that can become clumsy at times. There's an alternate way to finger that D that may make it easier to execute in this context. And what we can do is what's called side D. And in this case, you can leave your finger, your second finger down on the C key, and you can add what we call C2, which is this key on the horn. That is the key you typically depress when you're trying to play an E flat or a D sharp above the staff. So I'm going to keep 2 down and add C2. You'll notice that the timbre and the intonation is slightly different, but in this context, given enough practice, you can make that match, and it makes it a little bit easier to execute this opening passage. Thank you for listening. I am Dr. Joe Girard, the professor of saxophone at the Schwob School of Music at Columbus State University. Don't hesitate to contact me with any questions you may have regarding the etude, saxophone, or anything musical.